Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Prevue's webinar, What's Trending in Incentive Travel. I am Prevue's editor, Lisa Simonson, and we have an hour packed with information for you about planning and selling incentives in today's market. And we know you're going to enjoy it, and we hope you get a lot out of it and get information you can carry forward with you. So, just a few things to start off with. Uh, we just want our attendees to let us know where you're coming from or where you're viewing from. Just let us know in the chat where you're joining us from, and we can mention those spots. And, oh, okay. St. Louis, Brooklyn, New York, Toronto, yay, Oregon, Chicago, Kansas City, Tampa, Spokane, Washington, San Diego. Wow, guys. This is a real nice cross section of the country here. St. Augustine, yay. And Atlanta. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us from wherever you are. We're glad to have you. And now I just want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors because they are the ones that have made this show possible. And that is Fiesta Americana Travel Team Meetings and Events, Virgin Voyages, Disney Meeting and Events, Crystal Cruises, and Visit Malta. Thank you guys. Without you, we would not be able to put on this webinar. So also a couple of housekeeping notes. There will be a white paper for today's webinar. It will be in the chat. And if you miss something, don't worry, there will be a recording so you can access it at any time. Also, please drop your questions into the chat, and at the end of the webinar, we will get to as many as possible. So thank you very much. Again, we are talking about what's trending in incentive travel. So we're talking about what's happening this year, what might happen in the future, who's using AI and for what, and everybody's favorite topic, budgets. So we have with us three experts who are going to share their experiences as incentive planners and what might be around the corner in the industry. So panelists, would you mind please introducing yourselves and letting us know the kinds of clients that you serve? Dalton, would you like to go first? This is Dalton Bennington.
Sure. Hi, I'm Dalton Bennington. I'm the Managing Director of Profound Planning, and we are a boutique meeting and incentive firm. We work with corporations and predominantly professional services firms and high growth organizations that value strategic meetings as a tool to help them grow. Our programs vary from executive retreats to leadership summits, incentive travel programs, and complex multi-day meetings around the globe.
Thank you. That sounds amazing. Okay, Anna Sullivan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Sullivan. I am the Senior Manager of Planning Operations with Cadence. Cadence is a full-service travel management company. We support meetings and incentives, business travel, and leisure travel. We serve clients across various industries. Personally, I've planned programs for clients of all shapes, sizes, and industries. My key client right now is in the mortgage industry. And then my role is really split. So half of the time I'm planning and operating programs for our clients. And then the other half of the time I'm focused on our internal operations at Cadence and really hopefully trying to make things more efficient for our team of planners.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Anna. And Emily Parsons, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Parsons. I am an event specialist with SITE, the Society for Incentive Travel Excellence. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, we are an industry association that serves the incentive industry in business events. So we host multiple events throughout the year where suppliers and planners come together and either learn about a new destination, rediscover a destination, and then we have our buyers, of course. So we've got a lot of networking going on, but we also sprinkle in education and destination activities as well.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, panelists. This amazing group here, and we really appreciate you joining us. So let's start with kind of going into programs and what makes them incentive worthy. Emily, would you like to start us? What does incentive worthy mean today, perhaps compared to maybe 5 years ago? Or has anything changed?
It's crazy because when I first saw this question, I'm like, oh, wow, 5 years ago, where were we? We were coming out of COVID.
Hmm.
And to think about what was incentive worthy then versus now, um, really people were concerned about their health and well-being, but it kind of is still the same in terms of
Hmm.
we're still concerned about our well-being as we travel around the world in today's time. So I don't think that has gone away at all. But I do think that we're seeing a change in priorities of what our attendees find as incentive worthy. I think
Hmm.
the biggest thing, and it's come up in a lot of research recently, is with the change, what we're seeing a change in generations is um, the emphasis that the incoming generation, so my generation, is putting on wellness when we're traveling. So we're seeing a lot of alcohol-free events or like low alcohol events. We're seeing a lot more free time in agenda planning. And then we're also seeing some kind of like off the wall like physical activities as well, not your stereotypical beach yoga sessions, but more of how can we add in networking with wellness. So I think incentive worthy is changing with the new generation.
Hmm.
I mean, we all love luxury, but I think it's also kind of discovering what's new out there that we haven't seen, or what's going to be the next TikTok famous.
That's a good way to put it. Something right, not the known, not what's on rotation, but what's could be. Dalton, would you like to talk about attendees expecting more personalization, perhaps?
Sure. I think incentive earners are expecting personalization kind of at every touch point, from the communications to their gifting to the individual experiences that we're planning for them, whether that's matching their preferences, but also matching what their achievements are and earning the trips as well. Earners are savvy. They travel a lot. They want the rewards to be distinct, and they want that even though they are part of a cohesive or group itself. Their expectations are very important. And for us in incentive travel, we need to balance that need for personalization with the shared experience of celebrating successes together. To achieve that, it's important that we design the programs, giving participants the flexibility to shape parts of their own experience, kind of choosing their own path,
Mm.
but also creating moments where they're celebrating their successes together and then they can create that same group identity. When done well, the program should feel both personal as well as collective, and will make the experience much more memorable and impactful because we've created that for them.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, we've been hearing a lot about personalization and what it means, actually. So that was a good explanation of that. So we talked a little bit about wellness, Anna, but what are you seeing show up in programs regarding
Yeah.
wellness?
We're seeing it more and more. So we are implementing a lot of wellness and exercise time before daily agendas kick off. We're asking gyms to extend their gym hours if they're not open 24/7. We're focusing on high protein, locally grown ingredients for meals, especially keeping GLP-1 friendly menus in mind. And then I'm seeing a ton of wellness gifts as the main theme for gifting programs. So I just got off a program where every single gift was in the wellness space. It was red light therapy masks, Theraguns, vibration plates, aura rings. So it's not just woven throughout the program, it's like a huge component of the program.
That's interesting. Somebody in the chat says our groups do a lot of indoor rock climbing. So that is mega wellness, extreme wellness. Thank you very much, viewer. So I also wanted to ask Emily and Anna, are you building in, well, Emily, you said you're building in more free time, but are you seeing pre and post and families perhaps joining in, kind of creating a leisure?
So Our programs, I think, are just like slightly different from your traditional incentive just because it's all industry folks. But I
Mhm.
have seen more emphasis on some of our attendees actually bringing their older children with them, so those that are college age, to introduce them into the industry, and get them to kind of see what we do, which I think is really important to showcase what we do so that more students can start studying and
Mhm.
we have a backfill of folks that want to join.
Well, that sounds great. That's, following in mom and dad's footsteps. Very interesting. Anna, are you seeing families being brought along with attendees?
Yeah, yes. And it's been a shift for us because a lot of our clients had a really strict, this incentive is for one winner and a hosted guest. And now I'm also seeing adult children.
Mhm.
Parents want to like reward their high school graduate and bring them on the trip. But I'm also seeing a lot of young babies and children, people requesting to bring them on our incentives. So I definitely see a flex in program structure where we're doing more family buy-ins and allowing like bought-in guests
Mhm.
at group functions.
Okay, great. Good to know. So I just want to ask each of you very quickly, what are some ways that you have wowed clients? So we're talking about incentive worthiness, let's say. So, Dalton, would you like to give us an example of something that was a wow?
I actually kind of somewhat have three, but I'll be
Okay.
quick about it. We recently did a program in Montreal, and one of the things for the top achievers we did was to charter private helicopters and fly them one way out into the forest to have kind of an authentic experience with the maple trees and tapping that, and essentially give them an aerial tour of their destination, but also save them from 2 1-hour drives to get out there. So that was something that was kind of dual purpose. It gave them kind of something extra. Another one in gifting was we gave everyone individual record players that were logoed with the company logo, their name, as well as their metric numbers that they achieved. Taking that a step further and kind of tagging into the personalization side of it, we asked everybody what their favorite music was in registration, and then we reached out to the spouses and asked them what records they didn't have. So that way, in addition to giving them the record players, we could also give them music that was most important to them that they liked as well, so they would could start their collection as well. And then lastly, something that's very inexpensive, but for all of the attendees that are requesting pre and post extensions, I know we've seen a significant rise in that. We're also seeing that there's a lot of restriction with hotels and getting pre and post extensions with limited availability. But
Mm.
going the extra mile and helping attendees of trips that maybe can't stay at the host hotel, but giving them recommendations and helping them find hotels that's not necessarily a part of our day job, but making sure that they're comfortable and have great choices for their extensions.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So, Anna, would you like to give us a wow moment or a wow experience?
Yeah, so one of the most impactful incentives that I've ever planned was in Fiji, which is one of the most special places on earth. If any of you have been there, you would know. But the original trip was scheduled to start March 13th of 2020. So obviously it was postponed, which really just gave us more time to weave really special details throughout the program. So early in the program, the entire group visited a local village and school, and they sang and danced with the local community. They gave donations to the school, and it was a really special project that we did. And then fast forward to the final night, we of course were putting together a final night dinner, and Fiji has a really prominent Indian culture. So we gave all of our attendees traditional saris and kurtis, and they were fitted into their outfits in their room. We had a henna artist come to their room so they could get henna tattoos before the dinner. But the most special part of the evening was when they showed up to the villa before they sat for dinner. we had a children's choir from the village that they had visited earlier in the week come and sing for them. And there was like not a dry eye in the house, as you can imagine, myself included. And it was just a really sweet full circle moment. And I think we all have attendees who go on these trips year over year and they've seen it all. They have every gift, they've been every place. But when you weave in those local experiences and show attendees how their attendance on an incentive program can impact the local community, like that's what leaves a really like wow moment for them.
Yeah, something unforgettable, something
Hmm.
that ties them to the community versus just the luxury, quote unquote, experience.
Yeah.
So, Emily, how about you?
So Anna, I need to be on this next trip because that sounds incredible.
It was great.
But to kind of piggyback off of that, I was also going to say some CSR activities. So actually, I just got back 2 days ago from our Incentive Summit Americas trip that we did on the Royal Caribbean Wonder of the Seas. And most planners and most suppliers have been to the Bahamas at least once. And when we were doing the planning, I'm like, how can we make this time in the Bahamas different than any other time that they've been? So we actually, instead of doing our stereotypical destination immersion activities, we did, each one of them had a CSR component to it. So one of them, we actually went to a women's shelter and it's a brand new shelter. So we worked on helping them beautify their garden and we planted a vegetable garden for them so that they have fresh fruits and vegetables that they'll be able to eat off of for hopefully a long time to come. And then we had a group that went and did more of like a team building activity with canned foods, and they built these like ocean sculptures out of cans that then got donated to the food bank. And then we had another one that painted shoes for a local boys and girls club. So three different activities that left a very big impact on the community. And the response that we got from the attendees, like they felt so grateful that we were able to provide them with this and be able to see a different side of the island that they haven't seen, past that Nassau port. So I think being able to leave those lasting impacts is always a wow moment.
I agree with you. Thank you very much. Um, we hear the same thing when we go to shows and things that the community element is critical as far as getting to know where you are and who you're impacting, like you said, Emily, who you're affecting. So thank you very, very much. So let's move on to destination strategy. And I have a question for Dalton. What types of incentives will you be booking in 2026 and beyond? Beach, adventure, culture?
All of the above, regardless of the destination, that's always woven in. Our clients tend to favor a lot of beach destinations. It's incentive earners are asking for that constantly, and we tend to offset that with big sky, wide open spaces of the West, dynamic cities, cruises. We use both all-inclusive as well as EP or a la carte properties. Looking within the next year, we're going to Mexico, Costa Rica. We have a river cruise through Europe, and Dominican Republic off the top of my head.
Wow, that sounds amazing. The Latin American element, yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you booking more cruises right now, Anna? Why or why not?
Yes, we are. And there's two clients that come to mind. One is kind of a mid-size client, and I think for them it's great because they can really do a luxury yacht buyout and have a true one-of-a-kind immersive brand experience. And then the other is we have a really large direct selling company, and a large cruise is a great way to have them all in one place, not separating them out across different hotels. And it's also great, again, for those buy-in family members because a lot of people are wanting to bring their families. And we're really lucky at Cadence because we have our leisure division and we have cruise experts galore over there. They really help us when we're pitching cruises as incentives to our clients. But really, I think it's great because our clients get this kind of all-in budget experience also because you can bundle accommodation, meals, entertainment, and there's not really any variables along the planning process. And then for attendees, it's so great because they get to unpack once and they get to experience multiple destinations, and they don't have to do a ton of work. So yeah, we're definitely seeing it more and more.
The logistics certainly might be easier for you.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, thank you for that. And moving on to Emily, are there destinations that feel particularly strong now or competitive now? Do you see that?
So I feel like I'm seeing a lot of strength coming out of Mexico and Latin America. Even given what's been going on in the news in the last couple weeks, I'm
Yeah.
still seeing a lot of groups and just planners I'm talking to. A lot of groups are still holding strong to going there. And I think that Latin America, South America, Mexico, all of the above. There's a lot to offer in very safe environments.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I appreciate that because it's always good to know which destinations are emerging. Like we were saying before, what's on the rotation? Let's open it up a little bit and introduce people to new and just as exciting and just as wonderful destinations. So moving on to technology and AI. Stay there, Emily. Um, is AI influencing how you plan or sell your incentive programs?
Okay, so the Gen Z in me is really about to come out. I can't necessarily say that AI is influencing
Mhm,
how I'm planning, but social media in general.
mhm,
So I follow a lot of like the Instagram travel trends, TikTok travel trends. And I think that it helps open my eyes to a
mhm,
lot of places that are undiscovered.
mm. Interesting. Well, yeah, because it's coming on your feed and you're looking at things from all over the planet, literally. So that's very interesting. And on the same vein, Dalton, is technology helping you offset staffing or operational changes?
I kind of feel like the answer to that is yes and no.
Hmm.
I feel like AI is certainly offering efficiencies by helping with data management, streamlining workflows, supporting communication, all of those things.
Hmm.
At the same time, I feel like implementing new tools and it takes time and training. It's not a one size fits all. It does require us to learn, grow, adapt, figure out the best practices for utilizing it. And it certainly isn't a substitute for experienced people, their knowledge, and diligently planning incentives. So I definitely think it's a helpful tool. It's a resource. I definitely think it's a game changer for what we're doing, but I don't think it's a one size fits all solution.
Okay, great. Thank you. Um, how about what you said before, Emily? Are digital components extending the incentive experience beyond the trip itself? I mean, are people engaging before and after?
Yes and no.
Hmm.
Um, I think that we are seeing some engagement, but I
Hmm.
mean, a lot of times what we're seeing is everybody's travel schedule is so packed. We're seeing maybe some interaction a day or two before,
Hmm.
just because they're at another event and that's taking precedence, and then it's not until like the here and now when people are paying attention.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you. So let's move on to a price sensitive environment. So, Anna, has inflation changed the way you're planning incentive programs or what your clients are expecting?
Yeah, so I would say not directly. As I mentioned, my main client is in the mortgage industry. So while we're always addressing inflation and year-over-year price increases when we're addressing and creating program budgets, I think more importantly, we're taking into account the housing market and the market as a whole. and trying to plan around the perception to the attendees that we're spending the company's money responsibly.
Mhm.
And so, for example, when interest rates are high and business might be down, like that's the year to skip the $15,000 90-second fireworks display that's going to be posted all over social media. So, inflation aside, we just really want to focus on maximizing the client's budget while staying intentional with the spending.
Okay, great. And Dalton, I have a question for you. How do incentive professionals demonstrate their value to organizations in today's environment of rising costs and increasing complexity?
I look at the current market as our opportunity to showcase our value. And I think that's done by producing exceptional programs in this complex world. As costs continue to rise, as staff continues to be shorter, participants and travelers wanting more and expecting more, that's when we can show our expertise in delivering on our strategic insight, our global awareness, disciplined stewardship of our resources, and making sure we're spending in the right places.
Mhm.
We're helping our clients to make smart destination decisions where attendees are feeling safe. We help manage the risk and then design meaningful experience that protect their budget. Ultimately, it's our knowledge, our creativity, and our persistence in doing what we do that ensures that programs are successful and that we can deliver recognition to our clients to inspire their top performers. And then ideally, their top performers will inspire the rest of the company to want to continue to do more for the company, and companies will continue to grow. So I sometimes I get not scared, but frustrated with the challenges that we have. And then I just remind myself that it's job security. And if we keep doing our jobs well, we'll continue to grow.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Um, we recently had an incentive. Well, actually, it was deployed last November, our incentive survey, and overwhelmingly, the incentive trip days were like 3 to 5. Are you seeing shorter programs or more selective attendee lists, Emily?
I think we're really starting to see more of that like 3 to 4 day. I think that that's kind of the sweet spot for a lot of people,
Hmm.
just because, like I said earlier, we all live very busy lives,
Hmm.
and so it's that 3 to 4 days. And I also think that it matters the pattern of those days.
Hmm.
So a lot of times more people are wanting to do that middle of the week rather than the weekend because the weekend is filled with everybody's personal life. Um, but I also think we're starting to see more of not just the shorter programs with like the very intentional days, but I think more of like the shoulder season travel as well. When it comes to looking for more affordable options for some of those like very sought after destinations.
Right. Yeah, midweek and definitely shoulder season. I mean,
Mhm.
it affects some destinations tremendously because of weather, and others, it's just a very slight variation. So it could be a really great alternative. Um, so regarding that as well, Anna, how much is airlift now shaping where you recommend clients go? Or is
Yeah,
it?
it is definitely. And I'm really fortunate that at Cadence we have a full service in-house air team, which is an invaluable resource when we're planning out air analyses for programs. But just last year we had a program in Nevis, which we all know is tough for airlift. And the way our hotel contract fell, it was just like a week or two before their high season airlift
Mm.
schedules opened. And so we had to charter a flight on the way there, which always comes with its own challenges. So ideally, we're picking destinations that can comfortably accommodate large groups with the existing air schedules, where we're not having to block airspace. And just like what Emily said, we have to really pay attention to the date patterns for arrival and departure flights to make sure we're maximizing those against our hotel contracts. But and when contracting years in advance, like we don't always 100% know what the airlift will be, but we're just doing our due diligence to make sure we're having those conversations with clients, and planning and budgeting for destinations that might have difficult airlift.
Interesting. I just have a follow-up for what you said, though.
Mhm.
How is it easy, difficult to get seat blocks with airlines, especially if it's years in advance? Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like the carrier and their availability and how far in advance they're publishing their air schedules.
Hmm.
And of course, with blocking airspace, that comes with attrition and making sure you're picking up these seats. So when your attendees are extending, that's not great for blocked airspace. You want everyone to travel on your program dates in that case. So there's so many unique nuances with blocking airspace, but
Hmm.
yeah, I
That's
could probably talk about it
interesting.
for days.
Well, thank you, though.
Yeah.
I'm glad we touched on that a little bit. Um, so let's see. Who now am I going to? Oh, Emily, sorry. We talked a little bit about second tier destinations, but can you go into a little bit as far as pricing pressure? I mean, is there a better price point or value proposition with second tier or even third tier?
So I think, especially here in the US market, I think we're starting to see a lot more um, second tier destinations
Mhm.
be chosen. Just because a lot of the larger first tier destinations are pricing people out. I mean, we look at places like large cities. I mean, New York, for example, where I can't even imagine what a gallon of coffee is going for right now. So they might look to have a similar experience, but maybe they can fit in Providence, Rhode Island if they're a small enough group, or still be in that Northeast corridor, maybe go to Boston. There's a lot of other options out there that aren't necessarily going to cost as much, but might have very similar airlift, and or driving or trains if you're in the Northeast corridor. But there's a lot of other options out there. In the US. Now, in the international market, am still seeing a lot of like the major cities that are getting chosen.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Just let you guys know, I just recently did a story on Boise, and they have vineyards there and wine tastings. So things that you wouldn't expect, you just don't know until you, yeah, Dalton.
I was to say I'll tag into that one just a little bit from say there I do feel going into some of the second tier markets, there's definitely savings that you can realize by not going to a first tier city, which will give you more budget dollars to build out the programs more robustly and do some things that you wouldn't normally do. Like, for example, the wow experience of us in Montreal and doing helicopters. When we originally were pitching big city destinations, we're looking at New York as well. But what we can afford to do in Montreal with the exchange rate versus what we can afford to do in New York are completely different. And it really turned into an exceptional program because we were able to go to just an alternate city that is a little bit more affordable to us.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So stay there, Dalton, just a second. Um, are clients more focused on ROI now? And how should they evaluate the ROI of incentive programs?
I think clients are significantly more budget conscious. At the same time, that doesn't mean they're being thrifty. They're just being more intentional, excuse me, where they're investing their money. The focus is on identifying the program elements that are most important and that are going to give them a bang for the buck. Like Anna said, if when times are bad, it's not the best time to have the fireworks, but there's still a lot of things that you can do, and making sure that you're putting the dollars where the value is geared toward the participants, and making sure you're allocating your resources as responsibly and strategically as you can. How clients and how we should measure the ROI isn't just on the trip itself and the spend, but also on the performance that's created for the organization. It's on the engagement, the motivation, the loyalty of their employees. It's the cultural impact that the program has on the organization. It's also how the trip participants come back within the organizations and talk about it and how they're motivating their peers. If we're recognizing top performers in meaningful ways, it's going to really enhance the company's culture and it's going to promote behaviors in the organizations where people feel rewarded for their performance and are recognized for their achievements. I do feel that incentive programs are one of the most effective tools organizations have to drive performance and strengthen their relationships and build their culture. And in addition to celebrating the success of those that have earned it.
Great. Yeah, go ahead, Emily.
So to kind of piggyback off of that, I think another way to evaluate with the incentive programs is your turnover rate. I think just in general, it's expensive to hire new people and to onboard. And so to see how long people are staying, whether or not they are attending the incentive travel, but the fact that there's something that they can work towards, I think is really important.
That's
Agreed.
interesting. And I've heard the term ROE, return on experience. I don't know if that is a thing, but it's certainly a principle possibly to bring up with a client if necessary. Um, so let's go to a little bit more serious topic about safety, risk, and global uncertainty, because we all see what's happening now around the world and, frankly, in this country. So, Emily, are safety and geopolitical issues changing client behavior or just the way you position destinations?
Absolutely. So the biggest thing that comes to mind with this is we will actually be in Bogota next month in about 3 weeks. And of course, when everything was happening in South America about a month ago, we were getting messages all over. Are we still going? Is everything still on? I think it's the way that you position and educate people on like how far things really are from where you're going to be and how you plan to keep everybody safe, I think is really important. So I think it's more on how you position the destinations. Of course, we're always going to look for destinations that are safe, but there's a lot of stuff that we can't predict.
True. Along those lines, Dalton, how are you managing conversations around risk and accessibility?
For us, it's all about transparency. It's listening to what concerns are. Are there concerns more perception issues? Are there valid concerns? Emily's 100% right. It's how you communicate and educate and overcome what perception issues there are. For us, it's taking very deep dives into the destinations that we're going to. We're networking with our industry peers that have experience in those destinations, as well as our partners that are within them. Kind of understanding what biases there are and how we need to, again, communicate and educate our participants about the destinations that they're going to. In the event that it's something that's outside our realm of control and we need to pivot, it's, being able to leverage the resources and the connections we have and making those changes when we need to do it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank
Knock on
you.
wood, it doesn't happen, but sometimes it does.
Yes, Emily, please.
Actually piggybacking off of Dalton a little bit, I think too, in terms of communicating, I don't think that there is a such thing as over communicating with your attendees when it comes to their safety and the global uncertainty. I think just being upfront and trying to get ahead of it as soon as you can instead of trying to backtrack. And also leaning on the CVB and DMOs to help craft those safety statements, I think is really helpful because they're the boots on the ground.
Totally.
Good point. Yeah. So Anna, are clients more cautious? Is that what you're seeing as or just simply more strategic, like Dalton was talking about?
Yeah, I think in our business, caution leads to strategy.
Okay.
And what I'm seeing is not so much our main like client contacts being cautious, but it's attendees, right? It's attendees who are parents who are saying, is it safe for both me and my wife to travel on this trip when we have kids at home? We are seeing, we have clients right now who are actively trying to negotiate with hotel partners, specifically in Mexico, vouchers instead of attending the incentive trip. So
Mhm.
I see like the strategy moving forward is that we're going to try on the buyer side to have contracts with maybe more flexible attrition or clauses about more flexible participation in light of global events that maybe don't qualify for force majeure, but just giving, we still want to give our hotel and destination partners the business, but how do we do it where the attendees are still feeling safe? So I think in the future, contracts will probably have some sort of um, clause about not coming during the trip dates, but still allowing attendees to maybe go when they feel safe.
Oh, that's very interesting. It's kind of like what airlines are doing when things
Mhm.
happen, not charging, changing fees. So, just looking ahead then, after everything that we've discussed, I just want you each to kind of say um, one trend or whatever it is that occurs to you, and or one thing that won't change going forward in 2026 and 2027. So, Dalton, would you like to start on that one?
Sure. I think the one trend, I don't know that there's one, they all kind of meld together in my mind, but increasing expectations for our participants for meaningful experiences will continue.
Mhm.
And I also feel that, again, that's also our opportunity to demonstrate our value in producing exceptional events for the exceptional performance that they've delivered.
Okay, great. How about you, Emily? Anything you looking in your crystal ball or that you've heard of?
Um, Definitely culture. So weaving culture in throughout the program, I think is something that definitely won't change. I think it's just going to continue to increase in programs. Um, in this industry, I feel like this is a chance that we can all um, kind of change the world in our own way and open people's minds to new and different cultures, people, experiences. So I think that's one thing that we're just going to see more and more.
Well, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. We'll increase our coverage of that for sure. How about you, Anna?
I think for 2026, 2027, and beyond, it's really going to actually come down to care and safety more than a trend, a gift, a destination.
Mhm.
Our travelers want to move through the world with ease. They want to know that they're aligning themselves with a strategic partner who is proactively planning for every scenario on their behalf. So like I said, I don't really see it being a trend of a gift, but really finding a partner that will consult with them, like, yes, on an incredible, amazing luxury program, but also emergency planning, travel insurance nuances, having
Mhm.
24/7 traveler support. So I think the trend is really going to be taking more enhanced care of their travelers.
I appreciate that. I mean, just think a year ago, the tariffs were hitting, but within that 12-month period, I mean, it's just downright dangerous in some cases. So I appreciate you saying that. And I know we have some questions from the audience because I saw them come in. So can we get some of those? Let's see. Uh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh, are they here in the Q&A? Oh, sorry. I was looking for them in the chat. How important are sustainability and environmental impact considerations to your clients? And what innovative approaches are you incorporating to integrate these elements into your programs? Anybody want to comment on that one? Sustainability, yeah. Dalton.
I would say, depending on the client, varying importance. It's definitely, I think, a concern of all clients, but how they manage their programs around it vary. We have one client that takes it as far as ensuring that there's absolutely no plastics at all used within their entire program, from, absolutely no bottles of water, and making everything recyclable, food donations, flower donations, etc. And then there are some clients that appreciate everything that we do, but it isn't a driving force for them in selecting destinations or managing their programs. Definitely a nice to have all around.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, I saw something come up during the chat, but I didn't see it just there. When you were talking about the helicopter travel, somebody wanted to know about the liability and something like that. Is that a consideration?
There's a lot of conversations about it, a lot of investigation in making sure that we were in a reputable company, that they had high safety ratings. We did have options for individuals that wanted to opt out, and they could opt out beforehand, or literally, I'm not getting in this helicopter. Um, Fortunately, there's only two people that decided to drive. And it was exceptionally well received. The one person who was literally kind of shaking and I really thought was going to back out. When he got off, I'm like, so would you do it again? And he's like, absolutely, but I'm glad we're not going back. Um, so
Yeah.
you have to weigh it. There is a risk in it, and everyone who participated would say that it was well worth it.
That reminds me of something we did in Chicago. I was with a group of planners, and this was a not a battery operated helicopter, but it was not, there was no engine.
Okay.
So I was a little nervous to get on that thing, and some people just didn't want to, and they didn't. So, but I understand that, but still, you got to go for it, right?
Yeah.
So, what about travel insurance and or refundable airfare? We were talking about that. Do you have thoughts on whether insurance is worth the cost for the client?
I have a lot of experience with travel insurance and refundable airfare and all of that. So again, because we have a full in-house air team, when we're managing our clients' travel, we're typically not booking refundable airfare because our clients are set up with partnerships with the airlines, so we can keep their unused tickets in a travel bank and use them for future programs. So it saves you a lot of money to not book refundable and just to pay a name change fee maybe later. So that's the non-refundable ticket side.
Mhm.
For travel insurance, I think it is such a low per person cost, especially if it's a company sponsored trip, because really you're just insuring your attendees for medical issues, trip delay, bag delay, things like that. So they're not really able to claim the cost of the trip that they're not paying for. But I think perception from attendees is that it's a really nice thing to have. And there have been times where we've had to utilize it and we get the attendees some money back if their bags were not didn't make it and they had to pay the baggage fee, or God forbid they have a medical emergency on site. It's happened to all of us, and we've airlifted people out. We've
Mhm.
we've been able to get people reimbursed for seeing a doctor in a different location. So I think it's a really great resource to provide to your attendees.
And somebody's asking, do you have a good group travel insurance company that you can recommend?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ones. I use TravelX a lot for our groups, but it really depends on what you're trying to cover, where you're going. If there's any special nuances to where you're going, you want to make sure you're reading all of the fine print so you're not offering your attendees a policy that maybe doesn't cover certain situations. But yeah.
Mhm. And yeah, another question about the risk analysis on the helicopter, regarding those. Uh, Also, somebody who has an awards program coming up in the Dominican Republic wants to know if anybody has contacts on the ground to assist with that.
There's
Impressive.
lots of DMCs in the Dominican that can assist you. Off the top of my head, we've used both Host Global as well as Connect.
Oh, okay.
Both great.
All right. So, and somebody's saying, oh, for the insurance part, Alliance Travel Insurance is great. So,
Yes, they are.
okay. Well, I think, oh, not the attendees, but the company could benefit from having travel insurance. Is there such a thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most companies have it.
Mhm.
And it depends on their policies, what restrictions they might have, but they usually have a whole suite of insurance that covers events from host liability, for serving alcohol to the flights and attrition,
Mm-hmm.
all of it.
Okay. Great. All right. Well, let's see. Oh,
I do have a comment
yeah.
back to the sustainability question. Um, that's not your typical sustainability idea. But one thing that we at Site have tried to start to implement a little bit more since I started, because it's definitely something I'm just very passionate about. But ethical animal tourism. So not just having, when you're in a tropical destination, like birds, like a lot of times they'll bring like toucans out, or the macaws, but really doing research behind the companies that are providing the animals and how they're treating them, I think is really important. Just because also where we like to include like native animals, of course,
Right.
but if they're not native, then making sure that like you're not including them, just because it's not showcasing
Mhm.
the sustainable side of animal tourism.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I think earlier I said we would have the white paper available, our industry report on this. So I think it's going to come up in the chat if anybody wants to download it. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Somebody's saying Emily is our animal welfare queen and has brought such great perspective to our team on that. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, animals are, some commercials. Just can't watch them on TV. Thank you and shout out to Dalton from MVMT.
They went on the helicopters.
Oh, they went on the helicopters. Okay. Well, let me tell you, it was freaky to not hear that splitting engine, ear splitting engine. So go ahead and get that industry report, and it also will be on our website in the next couple of days. And I thank everybody for joining us. Thank you to Dalton, Anna, and Emily. And hopefully we will talk soon. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.